My name is Clint with another video from GSI Technical Support. Today's video focuses on moisture sampling and adjustments on portable dryers. This video applies to all GSI portable dryers with vision controls, but the basic principle can be used on all GSI portable dryers. This service operation is relatively simple and can be performed by the dryer operator. Before you begin, please read the relevant GSI user manuals and follow all safety guidelines, including the usage of personal protective equipment. Follow lockout, takeout procedures, and never begin work on any equipment before ensuring all the appropriate safety steps are followed. Watch our video dedicated to proper lockout procedures. Today's video on moisture sampling and adjustment will focus on how to properly collect, condition, and test the outgoing grain moisture on your portable dryer. Getting an accurate moisture sample is key to consistent grain moisture and quality. Following the guidelines in this video will make your dryer easier to manage. Moisture control accuracy is much easier to manage when your dryer is started correctly. This video assumes you are drying corn, your dryer is full of grain, and you have gone through the initial startup period. The outgoing moisture is consistent, you're drying in all heat continuous flow mode, and the moisture control is set to 16.5%. For this video, it is assumed that your dryer has been running for a few hours, and you want to verify the outgoing grain moisture and adjust if necessary. 15% is the optimal moisture for storing corn. Our goal is to verify the moisture of the cooled grain in your bin, not the moisture of the grain exiting the dryer. The following steps will guide you as you collect, condition, and test the outgoing grain, and then make adjustments so that the grain in your bin will be at the right moisture for storage. When you put hot grain into a bin, the moisture content of the grain will drop around 1.5% as the grain fully cools. This is important to note because you will only need to dry the grain to an average moisture of 16.5% as it exits the dryer. By running the fans in your bin, the corn will continue to decrease in moisture until it is completely cool, getting you to a final moisture of 15% for storage. Begin by collecting several grain samples. Collect a small amount of grain for each sample, about the same amount you would typically collect to check moisture. Put the sample into a container, such as a 5-gallon bucket. Do this about every 3 to 5 minutes until you have at least 5 different samples in the bucket. This is important because the multiple samples will give you an average of the outgoing grain moisture. Mix the grain together and test it using your bench moisture tester. Remember, you are testing it hot, and the moisture should be around 16.5%. This will give you a reference point for the outgoing grain moisture. Now, let's sample the moisture of the grain as it will be once cooled in your bin. Spread the grain from your bucket onto a surface so that it can cool for several minutes, similar to how it will cool when it's in your bin. Once the grain is completely cooled, gather the grain back into the bucket and check the moisture on your moisture tester. This should give you a good representation of the final moisture value for the grain in your bin. Ideally, you are looking for a cooled grain moisture value around 15%. By using this process, you're getting a blend of the grain coming out of the dryer. Do this several times before making any adjustment to the dryer moisture control. How do you make an adjustment when the moisture content of the cooled grain is off? As an example, let's say that the final moisture of the cooled grain is 14.5%, or over-dried by about 1/2 point. If after several samples you are consistently seeing a final moisture around 14.5%, we need to increase the moisture set point. In this case, the grain is being over-dried by 1/2 point, so we will need to increase the set point from 16.5 to 17%. By making this adjustment, the meter rolls will kick into high speed earlier in the drying process, resulting in a higher moisture grain exiting the dryer. After you make any adjustment to moisture on a dryer, it is important to remember that you will not see the results of that change until the dryer has completely cycled all of the grain through the dryer. So figure it will be at least 1 hour before any change will take place. After an hour, you can begin collecting samples and repeat the process if necessary. That concludes this video on moisture sampling and adjustment on portable dryers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications when new content is released.